Hey guys, welcome to another Rules Primer video. Today we're looking at Star Trek Expeditions, which is a cooperative game from WizKids Games. Since it's a cooperative game, I figured I would, instead of doing my usual structure, I'll just go through a few turns and kind of explain the game as I go along. I've got the game here set up with two characters, Captain Kirk and Spock. And yeah, let's just get started. Okay, like I mentioned, this is a cooperative game, so all players are going to win and lose together. You're going to win the game by successfully completing these three kind of main storylines, and do that by going through a series of missions, getting through all these missions. Now, you're not going to have to go through all of these, this whole stack, because these branch out. So depending upon success or failure on mission 1, you're only going to do either mission 2A or 2B, and then so on. So I think there's basically 3 missions on each of these storylines. So you win the game by successfully completing all 3 of those. You can lose the game in 2 different ways. The first way is if the stardate marker, which is this black marker, makes it all the way down to this Klingon symbol, in which case all the players lose the game. And the stardate marker is going to advance almost randomly based on these stardate cards. It's going to usually advance at least one space, but not always. The second way that the players can lose the game is if the Enterprise is actually destroyed by this Klingon battle cruiser, in which case all players lose the game. So the idea here is that the Enterprise has arrived at this planet to admit them into the Federation, but when they get there they find out that the planet no longer wants to join the Federation. And to complicate matters, there's a Klingon warship in orbit that wants to destroy them. So your mission is to beam down to these various locations on the planet and figure out what's going on while not allowing the Enterprise to be destroyed. So each player is going to play a character from the latest movie, from the reboot movie. This is Captain Kirk. If it would focus. And each character has a click dial with several stats. I think that first stat is command, and then blue is science, I think, and red is operations, if I'm not wrong. So as they click and take damage, those stats are going to go down, and the characters themselves cannot actually die, but they can get to all zeros, which is bad. The Enterprise also has a click base. It has a value for shields, a value for long-range attacks, and a value for short-range attacks. And like the characters, when it takes damage, you'll click it down. However, when this gets to the last one, it is destroyed and the game's over. Likewise, the Klingon cruiser has the same stats. Can't decide what it wants to focus on: shield, long-range weapons, and short-range weapons. Let's say, okay, all characters start out on the Enterprise, and the planet itself is broken up into 15 different spaces with these kind of random cards in there, and also these kind of artifact tokens, discovery tokens. Now these will give you a +2 in every challenge that you do, or you can discard the token and get whatever benefit it says on the token. These cards themselves are either going to correspond to one of these mission cards over here, or they're going to be supplemental missions, basically side quests, that will gain or lose you things as you complete them. And then some of them will actually be negative things that will be placed on the Enterprise that will do things like prevent it from moving or prevent it from firing and stuff like that. Okay, let's get started. First of all, Captain Kirk goes first if he's in the game, and then there's a hierarchy if he's not. But since he's in the game, he'll go first. The first thing you do on a turn, which actually this is nicely summarized on this card that each of the players gets. The first thing you do is to flip over the stardate card. Let's see what it says. Now, the first thing on the card is the number of actions that you're going to get in that turn. In this case, if it focuses, it looks kind of weird. Kirk gets 4 actions, which is really good. Now there's 3 different sections of the card. These correspond to the 3 difficulties you can play the game at. If you're playing on easy difficulty, you just do whatever's in the blue space. If you're playing on medium, you do whatever's in the yellow and the blue. And if you're doing in hard, you do what's on the red, yellow, and blue. In this case, I'm just going to be playing an easy mission, so this just says to move the stardate marker twice. So I'm going to move the stardate down to 2. Now, if we were playing in medium difficulty, the Klingon battlecruiser would attack us, and I'll show you how that works later. I'm sure we'll get a card that does that. So now Captain Kirk has 4 actions that he can do on his turn. One thing I forgot to mention, each character also has a character card. This character card has their name, a little description, picture of them, and then these are 2 skills. If a challenge directly has one of those skills listed, that gives you a +2 on that challenge. Each character also has a special action that they can do. Now this does cost an action, as you see. It says 1 action. I can transfer 1 crew between you and any other player, which is helpful. And Spock has one that he can look at the face-down card in any one location and return that card face down. I guess that's some kind of scanning thing. Okay, so Captain Kirk has 4 actions on his turn. Let's look at what he can use those actions on. This is also summarized on this card. These little ship icons mean that you can only do that action if you're currently on the Enterprise. These little world icons mean you can only do that if you're on the planet's surface. And then some of these you can do no matter what. So the first thing he could do is visit sickbay. You'll want to do that if you've taken a lot of damage. That'll let you heal up clicks. You can also attack the battlecruiser, and you can beam down on the planet. Now, if you're to any location on the planet. Now, if you're on the planet already, you can beam up, or you can move to one adjacent space, or you can make a discovery, which means you pick up the token off of the space. You can do your special character action, which we just talked about, or you can draw one energize card. Sorry. Now, these cards come in 2 types. The first is a crew member, which you'll play down next to your character card, and they'll always help you for the rest of the game unless something happens to that crew member or unless you transfer it to a different player. The second kind are kind of one-time use cards. You're going to keep them in your hand, and then once you play them, you discard them. The rules say that the players may not show those cards to the other players, but they can describe the cards that they have to the other players. You can also transfer 1 crew member from yourself, and now I think that means that you can only do that if the 2 characters are in the same location, whereas Kirk, I believe, can do that no matter where he is. It doesn't specifically say that, but otherwise that his special action isn't very special. And then you can attempt a challenge. If you're on a space that has a challenge, you can attempt to complete that challenge. Okay, so for Kirk's first move, he'll want to beam down to the planet. Now, he probably wants to pick a space that has a token that would be useful. Maybe this ambassador token that would give him a +3 to command challenges. And since he's probably going to be taking on those command challenges, that might be beneficial. So for his first action, he'll beam down to this location. Now, whenever you enter a location, you flip over the card to see what it is. Okay, this is one of those kind of side quest missions I was talking about. The President's Wife. The President's Wife makes amorous advances towards an Enterprise crew member. Well, of course it would be Kirk if that's going to happen. So we have to negotiate the situation without causing an incident. And that's going to be a level 24 challenge with a diplomacy skill giving us a bonus. And then if we leave this location before completing this challenge, we get a -1 to our politics score. The politics score is these 3 tracks that just kind of show us how far along we are on each of the 3 missions. So this is an example of a situation, a card that doesn't actually give us any benefit, but it will give us a negative thing if we do not complete it. All right, so it's funny how the ambassador is on the same space as this President's Wife trying to seduce us. Okay, so his first action, he beamed down to the planet. Second action, he will take this token, put it on his character card. third action, I think he will draw an energized card. Let's see what he gets. Oh, he gets a crew, a transporter officer. So that's helpful. We'll play that out in front. Play that next to our character card. So now he gets a +1 in red challenges. And that will be particularly helpful because we're not playing with the engineer. We're not engineer character or a character that's kind of specializes in red. So that might come in useful. Now you still have one action left, and we might want to actually attempt to complete this challenge. Now the way you do a challenge is you're going to roll these 2 dice, and these are kind of strange dice. They have from 1, but instead of where the 6 would be, it's actually a 7. Now the 7's really good, but the bad thing is if you roll a 7, you have to take 1 damage after the challenge is completed for rolling that 7 because you exhaust yourself by straining too hard. So we're going to roll these 2 dice. We're going to add that together. We're going to add it to Kirk's rating here. There. His yellow rating is a 10. So a 10 plus the dice roll. So basically the dice would have to be at 12 right now, which would be very difficult. Although we do have this token, which would give us a +2. Which would make it, actually we would still have to roll a 12, which seems pretty difficult. So I think for his second action, he'll probably just draw another card. Another crew, a helm officer. Okay. This will give us a +1 in combat. Actually a +1 in yellow, and also a combat skill. So another helpful crew member. So maybe the next turn, Kirk will attempt that challenge to get away from the president's wife. All right, Spock's turn. First thing is to draw a Stardate card. So he's going to get 3 actions this turn. Uh-oh, the Klingon battle cruiser is attacking. The way the battle cruiser works is you're going to roll this Klingon die for it to attack. Now, this also has a special side all the way. This is on the 1 side. So this goes from 2 to 6 plus this side that I think is supposed to be a Bathlick or whatever you say it, but it looks more like a turkey leg. So I might refer to it as the turkey leg side. So you're going to roll this. Klingons are attacking us. And they rolled a 3. Now you're going to take the cruiser and look at its stats. Now, if the cruiser were right adjacent to us, so basically in this space, it would be a short-range attack. Anything else, and it's a long-range attack. So he's making a long-range attack. We're going to look at his long-range score of 6. We're going to add that to the 3 he rolled for a total of 9. Then we're going to look at the Enterprise's shields, which at fully healed should be... Oh, it's at 9. So his attack met the shields, so we're going to take a turn of damage. This is very difficult to do one-handed. So the green line means it's at full strength, so it's going to take 1 click of damage to go down. So the Klingon has hit us. Now the Enterprise is going to get a chance to attack back. So it's going to roll one of its Federation dice for a total of 4. Look at its long-range skills, which is 7, which is a total of 11. Look at the Klingon's shields, which is at 13. So the Klingon shields were able to block the attack, and the Enterprise does not do damage to the Klingon, the warship. All right, so that's the Stardate card. Spock has 3 actions to spend on his turn. Now, one useful thing Spock could do would be to beam in to the same location that Captain Kirk is, which would give Kirk a bonus for the next turn to get past the President's wife. But I think it might be more helpful for us to actually move forward in our mission objectives. So let's go to a different location. I think maybe Spock will beam down here next to Kirk on this location. Let's see what this one has. Ah, okay. This is a captain's log location card for politics. Now what you do when you get one of these is that you take the currently turned up politics card and you replace that card with that. Now if I had discovered a location that had, let's say Kirk moves to this next turn and he turns it up and it's another one of these, another politics card. Well, you'll look over there and say, oh, I don't have a face-up politics card because there's currently the current politics mission is already on the board. In which case, I just leave this card there, and then the next time when we finish that politics mission, we'll put the next politics mission on that space. So that's how that works. All right, let's read this mission. Okay, this is the presidential palace. The Nibbian government is suddenly reluctant to join the Federation, despite the technological and trade assistance the Federation is offering. So we need to discover why Nibia has changed its stance on joining the Federation. And it's going to take a 20 diplomacy challenge. Now, it's also useful to look and see what will happen if we complete that. If we get a 20 plus and we have 2 Klingon evidences, that's going to be more beneficial for us. Now, Klingon evidence are our tokens. So in other words, it would be helpful for us, well, +2 helpful, and it would get us politics 2A instead of politics 2B. If we could get 2 of these Klingon evidence tokens before we complete this challenge. So that's something to keep in mind. So Spock has spent 1 action to beam onto that location. Now he's going to take a second action to take this scientist token and put it on his card. That means he has 1 action left. Now he could try to complete that card, but it might be more useful if he moves. He could move to a different location. He could move to this one, and then on the next turn he could actually pick up that Klingon evidence. Oh, see, I didn't need to explain it because there it happened. This would be the location of the next politic card. So that's Spock's 3 actions. Now let's go back to Kirk's turn. Kirk's second turn, first thing we do, draw a Stardate card. Kirk's going to get 3 actions this turn. We're going to move the Stardate marker. And you and any other players in your location lose 2 clicks. Wow. So, suspicious. Kirk is being injured while he's trying to deflect this amorous president's wife. This is very difficult to do one-handed. Let me click this base. The base has been clicked. Kirk's taken 2 damage. Now, something just occurred to me that this card gives us a -1 politics, but we are currently on 0 on the politics meter, so the -1 politics is not going to be, it's not going to really hurt us or anything. So I think Kirk's just going to ignore the president's wife and move on, maybe and try to do this diplomacy. Well, actually, it would be more helpful to have Klingon evidence first, so maybe we should move towards the next Klingon evidence. Which is way down here. So he's got 3 actions this turn. He could take 1 to move here. Let's look at this. Okay, it's Captain's Log Rebels. So we'll take the first Rebel challenge. Let's look at that. Uh-oh, it's a motorcade ambush. A government motorcade is ambushed by rebels who wound many of the senators and their senior members. So this is save as many of the wounded as you can. That takes a 21 on medical challenge. And if we get 21 plus on or before day 7, we save most of the victims and we get Rebels 2A. If we get a 21 plus otherwise, then we get 2B, and we only get +1 instead of +3. Okay, so Kirk took 1 action to move here. Kirk is not a doctor, so he's not going to attempt this medical challenge. He's going to ignore the motorcade ambush and take a second action to move here. Please ignore the dog. I'm not sure what her problem is. Okay. Captured by rebels. You are captured by the rebels. You may not leave this location before completing. At the end of each turn, advance the time tracker 1 space. I need to get at least a 20 with stealth and rebel items. So if I get a 25 plus, I get an ancient artifact for outsmarting them. If I only get 20 plus, I just escape. Okay, well, the rebels have captured our captain. So he's moved 1, 2. He has 1 more action left. He could attempt to defeat this challenge, which I think he shall. So he's got a red of 7. A red value of 7, which means we need 13. He has diplomacy in combat, which is not going to help us. But this will give us a +2. So he's got, what did I just say? 7. So 8, 9. This one will help us because it's red. 10. She will not help us because it's yellow. And this transportation doesn't help us and combat doesn't help us. So 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm going to roll the dice. And I only got a 3 for a total of 13, which is not enough. So I fail the challenge. I take 1 click of damage. And I stay captured by the rebels. So things are not really looking good for Kirk right now. So that's his 3. That's his 3 actions. Next, Spock's turn. First, we do a Stardate card. Stardate card. I forgot that this this card is going to make us move the time tracker each turn. So we'll go back down to 4. Okay, so Spock's going to only have 2 actions, but nothing happens this turn, so that's good. See, if we were at red, if we were playing this in hard mode, we'd have to move the Stardate marker 3 times and discard a crew. So you can see it definitely gets harder. All right, Spock, maybe you can save the day somehow. Let's see, he only has 2 actions, so he could come attempt to do this mission, or he could... What's a diplomacy? He really needs to get here to this medical mission, but it will take him 2 turns just to get there. I'm thinking it might be helpful for him to pick up this Klingon evidence. So that's 1 action. And move here for his 2nd action, just so we can see what's on the card. Okay, so this is the first energy card. Let's read this one. So the Nibian power generator, a crystalline element which regulates energy production, is rapidly degrading, leading to planet-wide energy shortages. Oh no. We need to analyze the crystalline element with a 19, when analysis will help us, as will the lithium samples. Now Spock has analysis, so he could probably do pretty well on this challenge. Unfortunately, he's out of actions on this turn. So that's it for Spock's turn. Now this card says at the end of each of your turns. So I think that means we only have to update it at the end of Kirk's turn. So we're not going to update it now. That's the end of Spock's turn. Let's do another turn with Kirk. Stardate card. Uh-oh. He's going to get 4 actions, which is good. But Klingon battlecruiser is going to attack us. So let's do that. Klingon rolls first. Total of 3. That's what... 3 plus long range. I think that's what he rolled last time, so he's going to hit. 6 for a total of 9. Shields on the Enterprise are at 9, so it takes a hit of damage. This is not good. Now that, well, first before I put it back, Enterprise is going to fire back. Rolls a 4. Add that to the long range for a total of 10. I'm pretty sure the Klingon has 13 on its shields. It does. Once again, the Klingon easily deflects the Enterprise's meager attacks. So now Kirk has 4 actions. What can he do? For one thing, he can pick up this this. That will give him +2 +4. Plus he has 9 for a total of 13. He only has to roll a 7. Oh wait, no, not 9, 7. So for a total of 12, which means he would have to roll 8 on the dice, which is, well, 7 on the dice. Let's spend another one of his actions to draw another energized card. Okay, Starfleet Training. After rolling the die, play this card to ignore the results and re-roll. That'll come in handy. Now, as I said before, usually these are kept in hand, but since I'm just playing by myself, I'm just going to put them out here, so I'll keep track of them. Okay, so that was his first action. No, his second action. The first action, he picked that up. Second action. Third action, let's draw another card. Play to gain an additional 3 actions for this character. Okay, so that's helpful. All right, let's attempt this challenge again. So he's got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. These don't help. 12. This doesn't help. This doesn't help. 12. 12, and he can play this to re-roll if he needs to. Let's see. Come on, big money. Excellent. So that's 7, 8, 19, 24. We have to take a click of damage, but we got 24. So, oh, we just missed it by 1 to get that artifact. Oh, well, we managed to escape at least. So this card doesn't give us any benefits of any kind. Well, it would have if we'd been 1 more, but we can discard it at least. And since I rolled that 7, he has to take a click of damage. So Kirk might need to be thinking about going back up to the Enterprise to heal. That's the end of his turn. Now it's Spock's turn. Let's do 1 more round. 1 more turn. Okay, Spock's going to get 3 actions. We're going to move the stardate. You must discard 1 crew or lose 2 clicks. Well, we didn't have any crew, so he's going to have to lose 2 clicks. Poor Spock's been injured again. And we have to move the stardate marker up. Okay, now Spock has 3 actions, which is better than last time. So he could come up and try to get this done. Or he could try to do this one. But there's not really a time pressure on this one, so I'm thinking he could use 1 turn to move here. Second turn to pick this up. And a third turn to try to help with the motorcade. Now, this is 21, medical. Spock does not have medical. His blue value, though, is at 10, which is good. Okay, so he's got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Rolls both dice. 17, 18, 23, for a total of 23, which is good enough to pass. So, he's got 23 on or before day 7. It's only day 5 up there, so we got that. Okay, so you save most of the victims, and their testimony offers clues as to where the rebels are operating from. Oh, excellent. So we're getting a +3 on our rebel score. So that's 1, 2, 3. And we get rebel 2A. So we'll find rebel 2A, and we'll turn that up. And now we can also take 2B and discard it, because we won't be using it this game. So the next time we find a yellow card, a rebel card, we'll be using 2A, which is slightly better than 2B. So good job, Spock. You solved that. We're making some progress. So I think you can get an idea then how the game plays. Every turn you just turn over a stardate card, follow what it says, and then you take your actions. Again, you lose the game if the timer ever gets to here or the Enterprise gets destroyed, which seems like that might be the likely situation in this case. But that's how you play the game. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope this makes learning this game easier, and I hope you enjoy playing. Happy gaming!